Distinguished Senator Jaribe, whose birthday came up on the 9th day of December, and Distinguished Senator Natasha Agboti Uduahan, whose birthday came up on the 9th of December, and Distinguished Senator Abdullahi Yahya Abubakar, whose birthday came up on the 10th of December. Our prayer is that God Almighty should protect them, enrich them, grant them good health, sound mind and body, and then continue to enrich their cause. Grant them victories upon victories, and protect their families from tragedies. Amen. On that note, let me use this opportunity to thank all distinguished senators and even the management and staff of the National Assembly for turning out in large numbers for the state reception that was held on my behalf at Uyo Township Stadium on the 9th day of December 2023. I thank you. Your presence made the occasion very enriching. And yes, now I'm coming to that. So I thank you. I can't repair you, but I know God will repair you for me. Thank you. As you gave me honor, God will also honor you. And God will add more years to your years until you are tired of living and you tell God to take you. Let me thank the wives of senators who turn up in their large numbers, and my own dear wife, Ekaite Unamagos Ulakbabio, who was gracious enough to organize the reception, and alongside thank His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Omoina, who also hosted us. He was a very great host, and irrespective of political leanings, he displayed statesmanship. So I thank him, and may God also bless him, bless my wife, bless the wives of our senators for the show of love and affection. And let me also especially thank the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Our Excellency Distinguished Senator Remi Tinubu, CON, who was very happy to be among our colleagues. In fact, she whispered to me that this was a serious Senate reunion, and we were all very happy to be together outside Abuja. So I thank her for sparing the time to come alongside the wife of the Vice President, His Excellency Shetima GCON, and sending his wife to be there, the wife of the Speaker, and thank also the Speaker. In fact, I want to thank all functionaries of government. Even the Secretary to Government was also there. I think it was a great honor to the Nigerian Senate. The Deputy Speaker was there, and I was also very pleased. The Speaker was there. I was pleased to see Malian, am I right? The Malian. Deputy Senate President, leading a team of senators, and you were all arriving in badges. I was very pleasantly surprised. But I thank God that gave you the enablement, brought you down safely, and took you back safely without any mishap. So I give glory to God Almighty. I thank the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Clerk of the House of Representatives, the management of the entirety of the National Assembly, especially the Clerk of the Senate and his staff who were there, the Sergeant at Arms and all. I remain indelibly grateful. The Leader of the Senate and the Leader of the House of Representatives and distinguished members of the House of the Senate and the Right Honorable members of the House of Representatives. I think the entire National Assembly converged at Uyo. I think once in a while we should take time out to go out like that and dance and let the world know that we are human beings, that we are not just in the business of lawmaking, that we also show compassion where there is need, and we also show empathy where there is need. So I really want to say that on behalf of myself and my children, I thank the President for the warm tribute that he paid to me. Very warm and fantastic tribute. And let me finally use this opportunity to also appreciate all the governors, particularly the governor of Cross River State, who was chairman of the occasion, and all the other dignitaries of government. The ministers are not left out. The commissioners, the speakers of the state assembly, members of the House of Assemblies of various states and across the nation, and many of the deputy governors that came, Ebonyi State Deputy Governor, and so many other deputy governors who were there. It was a show of solidarity with the Nigerian Senate, so I thank you. And then now thank my sister, distinguished Senator Obotu Dwagan, who had to postpone her own birthday until yesterday to be able to attend that function with her husband. Thank you. And your birthday was the same day. So maybe soon we'll have up to 10 senators who were born on the 9th of December, 2023. Leader of the Senate, maybe you do special appreciation later on behalf of the Nigerian Senate to show that we indeed are grateful. Gratefulness is not enough, because we must also thank the service chiefs who provided security for us and who were there in their numbers for the occasion to go hitch-free. And then don't forget the members of the clergy, too numerous to mention. Don't even forget the constituents and the voters who showed that, yes, indeed, that APC has come to stay in Akwa Ibom. In fact, even the members of the other political parties who were in the stadium showed that they are ready to vote APC in 2027 because of the good works of the president. They even danced more than the APC members. So it was across party lines. Distinguished Senator Dixon is looking at me. I'm just saying that the show was such that you could see that South had become APC, but that is not the real intention. The intention. I knew you would say it. You are hereby ruled out of order. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. May God bless all of you. So, and then on behalf of the birthday senators, we just want to also thank you for the show, and we pray that God will also uphold all of us who had these birthdays, and at the same time, God will add more years to us, like I said, in sound health and good mind. The sweet Senator Olamileko, I noticed you came in almost scattered. The appropriation is scattering your head. So welcome. Then, the chairman of appropriation has just informed me that he circulated some documents to the senators, and that he will want the reply to his documents back tomorrow, latest. So I'm aware that we are still sitting in various committees, and you'll soon go for your committee sittings, but it was necessary for us to reconvene so that we can take a look at the journey so far in terms of the work we are doing in the appropriation committees with MDS and other honor ministers. From the civil senator Onyeka Nweboye, he has given us, is doing a special Thanksgiving service on Sunday, the 7th day of January 2024. So he wishes to give the civil senators advance notice that he would like all of us to be with him in Ebonyi State on that day. So, Senate Deputy Chief Whip. So just keep the date for him 7th of January 2023. Correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senate President, request for confirmation of appointment of 3 executive commissioners for Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. In accordance with the provisions of Section 11, subsection 3 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate that listed 3 persons as executive commissioners in the board of Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Attached herewith are their curriculum vitae. Name: Bashari Alka Indabawa, Northwest, Executive Commissioner. Engineer Enorense Amadasu, South, Executive Commissioner. Mr. Babajide Oluwele Fashina, Southwest, Executive Commissioner, Economic Regulation and Strategic Planning. While I hope that the Senate will consider and confirm these nominees in an expeditious manner, please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest regards. Signed by the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. So this correspondence is referred to the Committee on Upstream, Senate Committee on Upstream for screening, and they should revert to the Senate in 1 week. Further correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, Senate President, National Assembly Complex, confirmation of appointment. This is dated 6th of December, 2023. So this correspondence came a few days ago whilst we were still working on the budget at committee levels. Dated 6th of December, 2023. Confirmation of appointment of commissioners, National Population Commission. Dated 6th day of December, 2023. A few days ago, whilst we're still working, and we are still working on the proposals and the budget estimates. So, in accordance with the provisions of Section 154, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, I am pleased to present for confirmation by the Senate the appointments of the underlisted 19 commissioners of the National Population Commission. Number 1, Honorable Emmanuel Trump, Eke, Abia State. This is a new appointment. Number 2, Dr. Clifford Zima. Dr. Clifford Zira, Z-I-R-R-A, Dr. Clifford Zira, Adamawa State. Reappointment. Number 3, Mr. Chidi Christopher Ezeoke, Anambra State. Reappointment. Number 4, Barrister Isa Audu Buratai, Borno State. Commissioner, reappointment. Number 5, Bishop Alex Okam, Cross River State. New appointment. Ms. Blessing Brume Ataguba, Delta State. New appointment. Dr. Jeremiah Obona Nwakwegu, Commissioner, Ebonyi State. New appointment. Number 8, Dr. Tony Ayejina, Edo State. Reappointment. Mr. Ejike Eze, Enugu State. Reappointment. Mr. Abubakar Daburam, Gombe State, reappointment. Professor Oba Nabwe, Imo State, reappointment. Ms. Sadatu Dogon Bauchi Garba, Kaduna State, new appointment. Dr. Aminu Ibrahim Zangawa, yes, Kano, new appointment. Honorable Yuri Afolabi from Kogi State, new appointment. Honorable Olakunle Sobukola, Ogun State, new appointment. Honorable Temitayo Olusheye Oluwatuyi, Ondo State, new appointment. Ms. Mary Ishaya Afan, Plateau State, new appointment. Mr. Ogiri Itotenan Henry from Rivers State, new appointment. Mr. Zani Saleh, Taraba State, reappointment. Whilst hoping that this request will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely. This is signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This correspondence is referred to the Committee on National Identity and Population Commission to report to the Senate in 1 week. The appointment of the NUPRC is earlier referred to the Committee on Upstream, is referred to the Joint Committee of Upstream and Gas. Yes. Yes, Deputy Senate President, point of order.
Mr. President, I am Barrow Jibrin, Kano North. I want to come under Order 42. With your permission, I read. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in detail to the President of the Senate when his leave to make it is sought. I do your attention to the need that I need to report to the entire Senate that sometime last week, after the tragic incident that occurred in Tudumbiri village of Igabi local government in Kaduna State took place, the Senate wanted to debate the matter, but for the fact that we had suspended plenary for the reason of engaging MDAs in respect of 2023 appropriation bill, 2024 appropriation bill. And so the President of the Senate summoned a leadership meeting, which was chaired by him. And it was resolved at that meeting that a delegation should be sent to Kaduna in order to commiserate and condole the people of Kaduna State. And it was agreed that I should lead the delegation. And so on Sunday, the leadership led by myself, went to Kaduna. And it was agreed that after that visit, the President of the Senate will later go himself personally. Mr. President, I feel I should report to the entire Senate that we made that visit and were able to condole and sympathize with the governor and indeed the entire people of Kaduna State, particularly the people of Tudumbiri of Igabi local government, over the unfortunate incident that occurred through the misfire of the Nigerian army that killed several people and also injured so many people. And we're able to visit the governor in order to relay that message. We're able to visit him at the Government House, Kaduna. Thereafter, we went to the hospital where those that got injured were treated. And went to all of them and conveyed the message of the Senate to them. And may I recall, Mr. President, that in a meeting before we left, it was agreed that we should make a pledge of donation equivalent to our individual salary, of a month's salary, collectively, in order to assuage or in order to a kind of alleviate the suffering being suffered by those that sustain injuries, and to also help to create some succor for those families who lost their loved ones. That was done, and the governor was very pleased with what we did, and also asked us that we should relay his commendation of the action of the Senate to the entire Senate when we resume. It is on this note that I feel it is necessary I should report this matter to the Senate, and also urge that even though during the birthday celebration we had 1 minute silence in honor of those who lost their lives, I want to urge this time around that we should also do the same as the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in honor of those who lost their lives. Mr. President, I so explain. And I also, for Mr. President to direct on whatever he feels that should be done in furtherance to what we have done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, distinguished Deputy Senate President and distinguished senators. I recall when we had the one-day retreat with all the heads of agencies and MDS, and organized by the Appropriation Committee. I brought up this issue immediately in your court, and thereat we observed a minute silence in honor of those who unfortunately lost their lives through the drone incident. And also during my birthday in the stadium, we also observed a minute silence in a very remorseful manner on behalf of the victims, their families, and we commiserated with the government and the good people of Kaduna State. And thereat, I directed that a Senate delegation should immediately move the next day, which was Sunday, the 10th of December. And the Senate delegation was led by the Deputy Senate President and the leader of the Senate and many distinguished senators, including senators from Kaduna State. And so I want to thank you for a prompt reaction. You commiserated with the victims He also condoled with the good people of Kaduna State, met with the governor. It was very widely reported. Yes, the fact that the Senate case is not in doubt. The fact that we are sad over the incident is also not in doubt. But we must, the Nigerian Army has already accepted that it was a mistake, and that occurred through their drone management. And as good Muslims and Christians, we always say that unto God we shall return. God gives and God takes. We will continue to show commiseration, we'll continue to mourn, we'll continue to support the victims and particularly the communities. So I will only put the question to our colleagues. Your report came under personal explanation, so it's not subject to debate. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate delegation led by the Deputy Senate President pledged our December salaries on behalf of the Nigerian Senate to support the survivors who are still struggling in the hospitals for their lives. And I believe that in the wisdom of the governor of Kaduna State to also assist the families of the victims. Those who are in support of this pledge made by the delegation of the Senate, led by the Deputy Senate President, that we do suspend receipt of our December salary to assist the victims both ways, the survivors and those who have lost their dear ones. Can you say aye? Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate, please note that that is the Senate decision. Now, may I invite my colleagues to rise for us to observe 1 minute silence in honor of the departed brothers and sisters who lost their lives through the drone camp. May the souls of our brothers and sisters who lost their lives through the unfortunate drone mishap in Kaduna State rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House bill standing in my name on the Nigerian Medical Research Council Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023, HB 470. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Nigerian Medical Research Council Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023, HB 470, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerian Medical Research Council Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023, HB 470, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Siako Yaro Anthony on the Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 297. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 297, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Agricultural Research Council Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 297, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Karimi Sunday Steve on the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Egbe, Kogi State, Establishment Bill 2023, SB 299. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Egbe, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2023, SB 299, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal University of Medicine and Medical Sciences, Egbe, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2023, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Tamboa Waziri Aminu on the Federal Housing Authority Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 300. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Housing Authority FHA Act Amendment Bill 2023, SB 300, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Federal Housing Authority FHA Act Amendment Bill 2023, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, very distinguished senators, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yisa Ashiru Oyelola on the Medical Physics Regulatory Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, SB 301. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Medical Physics Regulatory Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, SB 301, first reading.
Distinguished colleagues, Medical Physics Regulatory Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, SB 301, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, may I first make an appeal to our distinguished colleagues that due to the pressure of the budget defense exercise that is ongoing, we only will be able to take the first order of the day, while the other items of the order paper will be stepped down to enable our colleagues go back to the committee rooms and continue with our budget defense. And having made such an appeal, Mr. President, may I go on to announce that the first order of the day is the presentation.
Let the minority leader second your motion.
Then you put the question.
That we step down
Okay.
all the other items except the first, in order to enable us go back to our committee rooms.
I am well guided, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do step down the other items on the agenda except order 1 to enable senators attend to committee works on the appropriation. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the leader of the Senate has moved a motion that we do step down other items on the order paper except order 1 to enable senators revert to the committee rooms to continue deliberations on the appropriation bill. And it has been seconded by the Senate minority leader. Those who are in support of the motion and move say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we take only other one. Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. The first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the confirmation of the nomination of Ambassador Akao Desmond as a member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Distinguished senators will recall that the request was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 28 November 2023. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Yahaya A. Abdullahi, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Abdullahi Yahaya.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion that this distinguished Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee of National Planning and Economic Affairs on the confirmation of the nomination of Ambassador Desmond Akao for appointment as member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Alero.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Muhammad Adam Aleru, representing Kebbi State. Sorry, Kebbi Central. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Senator Abdullahi Yahya that the report on the Senate Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the confirmation of nomination of appointment into the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission be approved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded. Those who are in support of taking this report say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate...
Sorry, distinguished Leader, let him present the report, then we can now go into committee of the whole. Yes. Distinguished Senator, yeah, having led the report, we would like you to do a summary of it before we go into committee of the whole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I think all members of this distinguished chamber have copies of this report. On page 1 is the listing of the Senate at its plenary on Tuesday, 28 November 2023. Consider the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation on the nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond as member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, and referred same to the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs for further legislative action. The membership of the committee is presented on page 1, page 2. The methodology of the interrogation, of the interview and interaction is listed there on item 3.1. The level was invited and he was screened, and the findings of the committee are on page 3. Number 1, from the documents made available to the committee, the nominee satisfied the requirements for appointment into the office. He is well experienced, adequately exposed at top levels of both government and private sector administration, and we have affirmed that he had the capacity to function as Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, especially having served the nation as a Minister of the Federal Republic, as an Ambassador to the Republic of Korea, among other appointments. There are also no petitions against him, and the 3 distinguished senators from the Rivers State are in full support of his nomination. So it is the opinion of the committee that the nominee is a proper and fit person to serve as a Federal Commissioner in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Recommendation. Based on the above findings, the committee is convinced of the suitability of the nominee and hereby recommends that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond as a member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I wish to most sincerely thank you for the opportunity to serve in this capacity. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, my distinguished and highly respected colleagues. I submit.
Any contribution? Yes, please. Is there anybody that would like to contribute? Mene? Yes, this for this nomination. The nominee, Rivers State.
Thank you, Mr. President of the 10th Senate, distinguished colleagues, Mpigi Barinada. Mr. President, the nominee, which the committee has just finished doing the necessary work to, Desmond Akawo, has been one of the forefront supporter, even when he was in the People's Democratic Party. I can tell you boldly, that he has the mind and the might to support the renewed hope of this country. He is from my senatorial district. He served as the party chairman of the People's Democratic Party for 8 years. And I can attest to the fact that he can do the job and is capable of serving the president and serving the country at large. Desmond Akawa has served in various capacities, including being a Nigerian ambassador to Korea. He has been a former minister of this country. It's of no doubt at all that if he is confirmed by the Senate, that Ambassador Desmond Akawa will do what is necessary to make this country move forward. Mr. President, I so submit.
Distinguished Senator Dixon.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my dear colleagues. Henry Siriaki Dixon, and I represent Bayelsa West. Mr. President, I rise to lend my voice to the motion that the nominee be duly screened and approved as a member that has been so nominated by the President. Even though of recent, the nominee has left our political party to the other one, that does not take anything away from the fact that Ambassador Desmond Akawa is eminently qualified. And Mr. President, as you know, in our zone, we have a tradition of encouraging and supporting eminent citizens. And Desmond Akawa is one of the several, and I don't want to mention names, of those identified and groomed by our party for additional and further national service. So I want to lend my voice, and irrespective of the recent political decisions, which is free to take, it doesn't detract from his proven record of public service and service to our country. Desmond Akawa is eminently qualified for any appointment, even beyond what he has been nominated for. And we trust that he will give his best.
Distinguished colleagues, you've heard the contributions of Senator Midi and the contribution of Senator Dixon. The report from the committee that the nominee for Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is ably qualified. In fact, Senator Dixon went further to say that it's a great loss to the other party, that this man was a pillar of the other party, and his exit from that party has caused irreparable damage to the party in Rivers State. And therefore, that in spite of it, that he will not put a good man down, that he will support his nomination to be one of the members of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. I think there's no greater testimony than that. The fact that they are feeling the impact and that the party has crumbled, his party has crumbled in Rivers State with the exit of this man. Senate Leader, there's no need for us to take further contribution. Can you move a motion for us to go into Committee of the Whole?
Mr. President, very happy and patriotic distinguished senators, may I move that the Senate dissolve into a committee of the whole to enable us to consider this report. I so move, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do resolve into the committee of the whole to consider the report on the nomination of Ambassador Kao.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that this Senate do resolve into committee of the whole to consider the nomination of of Ambassador Desmond Akawo. Those who are in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So we resolve into committee of the whole. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond as a member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, distinguished senators, I rise to move that the Senate reverts to plenary to enable the chairman report progress. I so moved.
The minority leader.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, I rise to second the motion that the chair returns to the chair to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, having approved the nomination of Ambassador Desmond Akawo as member of Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, the motion is on the floor that this Senate do revert to plenary to report progress. Those who are in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate will now refer to plenary. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the screening of Mr. President nominee for appointment as member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and approved the nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond as member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate confirm the nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond as a member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Ambassador Akawo Desmond is hereby confirmed as a member representing Rivers State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn till Wednesday, 20th of December 2023 at 10 a.m. Mr. President, I so move.
Mr. President,
What date? Are we,
Wednesday, 20th December 2023.
Leader of the Senate, that this Senate do suspend plenary to enable us continue with the committee sittings on appropriation estimates, and then resume plenary on the 20th day of December 2023. Those in support that plenary be suspended to allow for continuation of the appropriation bills, say aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned to the 20th day of December 2023 at 10 a.m. prompt.